From 1959 to 2005, one name defined affordable American luxury, comfort, and reliability in the full-size sedan world, and that name was Buick LeSabre. Across nearly 5 decades and 8 distinct generations, the LeSabre carved out a legacy as the best-selling Buick model in U.S. history, beloved by families, retirees, road trippers, and anyone who wanted a quiet, spacious ride that just wouldn't quit. It all began in 1959, a year when American car design was reaching its most dramatic heights. Buick introduced the LeSabre as a replacement for the entry-level Buick Special, positioning it as a full-size, yet affordable, family car. And what an entrance it made! The first-generation LeSabre came out swinging with rocket-age styling, boasting enormous swept tail fins, round headlights, and enough chrome to light up a city block. It had wide, low proportions, a jet-age dashboard, and a standard 364 cubic inch nail-head V8 engine that delivered smooth torque and a satisfying growl. Inside, it was simpler than later Buicks, but for 1959, the idea of cruising down the boulevard in a LeSabre with power steering, automatic transmission, and room for 6 was the height of comfort. Moving into the early 1960s, the second generation, 1961 to 1964, dialed back the space-age theatrics and leaned into a cleaner, more conservative look. Fins were toned down, the lines became more horizontal, and the whole design felt more grounded, more elegant. Buick offered a range of nailhead V8s during these years, from the 364 to the more powerful 401 cubic inch Wildcat V8. These cars had improved suspensions, better interiors, and a stronger emphasis on luxury and refinement. They were reliable and spacious, and the styling remained distinct but less flamboyant. Buick was finding its voice, and so was the LeSabre. Then came the third generation, from 1965 to 1970, and wow, this was Buick hitting its muscle luxury stride. This era of LeSabre embraced the Coke bottle curves that defined mid-60s American car styling. These cars looked fast standing still. Engine options expanded, with the introduction of the 340 and 350 cubic inch V8s, alongside the robust 401 and 455 cubic inch monsters that made these big Buicks move with surprising authority. You could get your LeSabre as a hardtop coupe, sedan, or convertible, and let's not forget those big chrome bumpers, wide grilles, and plush interiors that made long-distance cruising feel like floating on a cloud. There were advanced for-the-time features, like climate control, power seats, and even tilt-away steering wheels. Buick was bridging the gap between working-class accessibility and near-Cadillac comfort. But things were about to get even more outrageous. From 1971 to 1976, the fourth-generation LeSabre grew, and then grew some more. These were some of the largest cars Buick ever built. The fenders stretched endlessly, the doors felt like you were closing the hatch on a spaceship, and the interiors were lounge-like, complete with pillowy velour, wood-grain panels, and thick carpeting. Under the hood, you typically found a 350 or 455 cubic inch V8, capable of smooth acceleration and effortless highway cruising. However, these were also the years when emissions regulations and fuel crises began to catch up. Power started to drop, and weight increased, but even then, LeSabres were prized for their smooth ride, soft suspension, and almost whisper-quiet cabins. People loved them for their floaty feel and rock-solid reliability. The fifth generation arrived in 1977, and things started to change. Facing fuel economy standards and government regulations, GM downsized the full-size line, and the LeSabre became shorter, lighter, and more efficient. Gone were the oversized chrome sleds, in their place came boxy, squared-off designs with clean lines and improved visibility. Despite being smaller than their predecessors, these LeSabres still offered generous passenger space and huge trunks. Power came from a range of engines, from the standard 231 cubic inch V6 to optional Buick, Oldsmobile, and Chevrolet-sourced V8s, and even diesel options for the truly frugal. These LeSabres were tough, easy to maintain, and dependable in all weather. Inside, they had the same comfortable bench seats, intuitive dashboards, and amenities like power windows, cruise control, and plush velour upholstery. Many of these were sold as police cars and taxis, a true testament to their bulletproof drivetrains. Then came the big shift, front-wheel drive. The sixth generation, introduced in 1986, marked a massive departure from the traditional rear-drive platform. Built on GM's new H-body, these LeSabres were still full-size, but they were lighter, more space-efficient, and better suited to modern times. Gone were the massive hood lines and rear-drive proportions. Instead, these cars had aerodynamic shapes, more conservative styling, and a focus on quietness and fuel efficiency. The now legendary 3.8-liter 3800 V6 became the heart of the LeSabre, smooth, torquey, and incredibly reliable. These sixth-gen models were hugely popular among retirees and highway cruisers, who appreciated the sedan's soft ride, simple controls, and low maintenance costs. Inside, you could find digital dashboards, power everything, and even early airbag systems. The seventh generation, from 1992 to 1999, took everything people loved about the sixth and made it smoother, rounder, and more luxurious. These LeSabres featured rounded bodies, flush grilles, and a look that was more refined and upmarket without being flashy. Inside, the dashboard stretched wide, wrapping gently around the driver and passenger in a cocoon of comfort. Dual airbags became standard in the mid-90s, along with ABS, traction control, and other safety features. The 3800 Series I and later Series 2 V6 offered 170 to 205 horsepower, with great torque for passing and hill climbing. These were cars that could cruise at 75 all day and still return decent MPG, all while feeling like a lazy boy on wheels. It's no surprise that during this time, the LeSabre often ranked as the best-selling full-size car in the US, outselling even the likes of the Ford Crown Victoria. And finally, we arrive at the eighth and final generation, from 2000 to 2005. Buick refined the LeSabre's formula even further. These cars featured smoother styling, swept headlights, curved body panels, and tasteful touches of chrome. Inside, the LeSabre Limited offered leather seats, wood grain trim, heated seating, and even an optional heads-up display that projected your speed onto the windshield, high-tech stuff for a car largely favored by traditional buyers. The tried-and-true 3800 Series 2 V6 carried on, offering fantastic reliability and smooth power delivery. This generation added OnStar, dual-zone climate control, stability control, and side airbags, making it one of the safest, most comfortable sedans in its price class. Even in its final years, the LeSabre remained a top seller in the full-size segment, quiet, competent, and still built in America. Through all 8 generations, the Buick LeSabre stayed true to a simple but powerful formula: a comfortable ride, room for the family, bulletproof engineering, and a price that undercut more premium competitors while offering many of the same luxuries. Whether it was a 2-door coupe with chrome galore in the 1960s or a refined FWD sedan in the early 2000s, the LeSabre was a people's car, for people who valued comfort, practicality, and peace of mind. It was the car you drove to church, to the lake house, across state lines to visit family, and then handed down to your kids or grandkids, and it still ran. When production ended in 2005 and the Buick Lucerne took its place, an era had come to a close. The LeSabre wasn't just another sedan, it was an American institution. And for those who owned one, the name still brings back memories of road trips, Sunday drives, first dates, and quiet, reliable miles. In the end, the LeSabre didn't need to be flashy to be great, it just had to be exactly what people needed, year after year.